our NFL segment of today's podcast. We're going to be moving on to NBA. And, we've been waiting for some news to come out of the NBA, and we finally got some. So the latest report by Zion's agent is that Zion was actually paid by Nike and by Duke University to attend Duke as part of an endorsement deal between the school and the company. So what do you think about, Zion potentially being paid to attend Duke?
So, from all the reports that I've heard, is his ex-agent, which him and his agent are currently in a lawsuit battle about because Zion left that agency, and backclaimer that agency's honestly not a credible one. From what I've heard, is they're not a great agency, and Zion never should have signed with them in the first place. So, what I've heard is that Nike, Duke, and Adidas basically have been in communication with his family since he was playing AAU tournaments, and they basically paid his family, not him, the money. But if this is true, what does it really prove? Does it prove that all college athletes are being paid, or does it prove that the system's corrupt? Or because at this point the goal was to make it to the NBA, and Zion's in the NBA, so I feel like Zion's not really Zion is not going to be tainted in any way by this kind of thing. It's just going to be a taint to the college and organizations, honestly.
Honestly, I think we know the system is corrupt, but at the same time, it's like, in my opinion at least, I do think college athletes should be getting paid. Not nearly as much as their NBA counterparts because they're still getting a free education, but they bring in so much funding for the schools that I think even a small percentage of that should be given to them.
Yeah.
I don't like that they're doing it illegally. That kind of sucks. That players are pretty much taking bribes, by these companies and these schools to attend their school. But at the end of the day, like, people kind of know this is going on. It's kind of kept underground. People don't talk about it as much. This is just another example of, once again, the thing that no one wants to talk about, kind of being brought up into the media light, the spotlight. And if it is true, I can't really blame Zion because this is pretty much how the system is set up. I just wish it was already set up to a point where, you know, the colleges. I don't think that they should be in a bidding war to get a player.
Mm.
I think, if it's a Division 1 school and they're well known for basketball, like all the other Division 1, like Kentucky, Duke, Gonzaga, all those big basketball name schools, they should all be paying the same amount. It shouldn't have to be a bidding war, like it is now, because I just don't feel like that's fair to some other players.
Yeah, so I totally agree with that. And what the report says here is that Zion's parents asked for and received money, benefits, favors, and other things of value to influence him to wear Nike or Adidas products and to attend Duke. So, Zion's not the first athlete to be bribed or parents be bribed by companies or colleges to attend there. And if the NCAA realizes this and we get some legal answers here, I think it's going to be a whole situation for everyone. But like I said before, Zion is in no real trouble, in my opinion, as he's already in the league and he's already making hundreds of millions of dollars. So
Yeah, and like at the end of the day, if there was already a system in place to pay college players, we wouldn't have to be dealing with stuff like this. You know what I mean?
yes,
If
yes,
if there was just a base salary for being a starter, being or compared to like being a bench player at a Division 1, 2, and 3 school, like let's just, these aren't real numbers, for example, but let's say that college athletes who are starters at a Division 1 school make 200,000 a year, and then a bench player makes 120,000. Like let's just say that if there were benchmarks, this kind of stuff wouldn't happen. They would just know how much they're going to make going into it, and this type of bribery wouldn't happen. But I think the reason this does happen is because of the amount of money that's involved. And I want to talk about this because, according to the report, uh, Duke requested that Nike pay Zion 15 to 20 million for Nike to basically tell them, "Hey, we want you to go to Duke," and Duke also reaching out to him. So reportedly, from the university and Nike combined, he is being paid anywhere from 15 to 20 million dollars. Okay. He also just signed a 5-year, $75 million deal with the Jordan brand.
yep.
All right, so we're looking at 90 to $95 million, and then he makes $45 million off of his 4-year contract with the Pelicans. So
Wow.
Zion, he's cashing in. He's already guaranteed himself about $140 million, before taxes, but that's still pretty impressive, and it just shows you how special of a talent these companies and these schools know that Zion is. That that he's already making millions just from the school. Jordan Brandon is already paying him, close to 100 million, and that the Pelicans, he's already making $45 million on his NBA contract.
Yeah.
What do you think about these insane numbers for someone that hasn't even played a full NBA season yet?
It's pretty crazy, but just this social and cultural hype around Zion is like LeBron. So it really doesn't matter about his performance on the court so much as it requires the brand. And he has built a brand for himself. So that's really why I feel like the money's coming his way. And in my opinion, I feel like he should have waited until the NBA to cash in. But if every other college kid around him is cashing in, he'll see that and his family will be influenced like that. But Zion has the potential to be one of the greatest media generation stars, sports stars of all time.
For sure. I think just because no one used to know about AAU basketball, no one used to follow high school basketball really. I feel like the whole AAU and high school basketball scene really got elevated with the Ball brothers. And
Yeah,
then that all, and people started following it. A lot more people started following it. And then Zion was also playing around the same time. So then people started following Zion. And I
yeah,
think you're right. It was all about the brand at the end of the day. Even I think Zion's going to be a great player. But let's say, hypothetically, he's a bust or something like that. Even before he's proven himself as a great player, Jordan Brand already knows the kind of brand he's built for himself. And if they have Zion on their clothing or Zion on anything that the Jordan Brand makes, it's going to sell.
for sure.
The colleges know that Zion already has a brand. Their games are going to be sold out just because Duke has Zion. They sold so many more tickets. They had such higher, TV ratings this year just because of Zion. So even if he ends up being a bust, which he most likely won't, it's almost a 0% chance that he's going to be a bust. Um,
Yeah,
they see the opportunity to make money now while there's so much hype around him, and there's always going to be hype around Zion. This is like the highest point, just like LeBron. The most hype was around LeBron coming into the league because he's supposed to be like the next great player, and Zion's supposed to be the next LeBron. So there's so much money to be made off of his name right now.
for sure.
Yeah. So, but that's our takes on the Zion situation. At the end of the day, I wish there was already a system in place to pay these athletes. I know LeBron James has been working with lawmakers, and there's a law that's actually going to be passed in a couple of years that is going to permit college players to make profits off of jersey sales and ticket sales, which I think is great. And hopefully it stops bribing scandals like this. But
Yeah.
I think it's good that LeBron James is already working towards establishing a firm guidelines and rules that will benefit both agencies, college athletes, and the colleges as a whole. Because when things like this come out, it's not a good look for Duke. At the end of the day.
Yeah, it's not a good look for Duke, and it's not a good look for the NCAA, which is a $1 billion company basically having free labor as all the kids work for free. So that's not a great look, and that definitely needs to be looked at. And they need to decide: do players get paid based on their skill, or do they all get paid one universal payment, no matter your skill level or what kind of college you go to? So that's something that need to be looked at. But I really advocate for superstars in professional leagues helping the college kids out. So
For sure.
definitely an interesting topic, but I guess we're gonna have to move on now.
Yeah.